Pep, you said that if City drop points in this game, the title race is over. Is it?
Who said?
You said that yesterday?
No, it's not over. But we didn't lose. No, it's not over. We continue. We have an incredible team spirit, and we fought after incredible amount of effort in Madrid with the result and how we play. First have more control for the shape, for the quality players, and we put energy in the second half with the incredible talent players. And yeah, the last two games, Nottingham Forest, we play much better. So not just the stats, the feeling. So we are an incredible team. So we play so good. The plays guys and go, and until the end we continue. So it will happen that season. So we didn't score enough goals when we had the quality to score, and with lack of score goals, they punish us. Because the team, can score one goal, even two, but always we had that team, the ability to score a lot. I don't know how many times we scored 5 goals in 10 years. You have incredible stats in that. And this season we had the chance. I remember perfect Sunderland and Chelsea at home, Brighton at home, and today Nottingham Forest. That, of course, today in modern football, playing 90-95 minutes, being consistent is difficult. But our momentums are there, and stats always, except 2 games, Arsenal away, United away. We didn't deserve anything. The rest, we have been better, and unfortunately, we didn't score enough goals. That punishes this season.
You had a different vantage point from where you were watching the game today. How difficult was it for you to change things during the match?
No, nothing. It's perfect. I love to be there. I will complain more the referees to get more yellow cards to go in my tribune. Next time will be 3 players, three games. So I will try it again. So it's different. You're more relaxed, I would say, more relaxed. And with Pep, we talked before during the halftime. In the second half, a little bit more the substitution to try to put creativity players, in that position.
You look like you were on the phone to him quite a lot.
Yeah, we charged the battery before full.
There was a moment, I just want to ask you about substitutions today. There was a moment where it looked as though Erling Haaland was going to come off and Foden was going to come on for him. Is that correct, or did you change your mind?
No, it's not correct.
Okay. So it was always the plan to bring Foden on later on, but for a different player?
No, I should maybe keep Antoine for Mateus and put another more players. So, we concede one corner, one shoot on target. So when we draw and expecting goals and everything, but not expecting the sense. The first friendly. You cannot expect after Champions League game in the travel, come to London and not training, absolutely just refresh and have 90 minutes with intensity, the 50-20 minutes. Football is not about that, but we asked ourselves to fight until the end, and we did it.
So we still have a title race?
Now is a rest, and I don't know how many days off I will give and prepare Madrid and give everything on our fans. And now we last on our people. So these guys deserve it. So these players deserve a monument. Because it doesn't matter. For the results, 9 points is a lot against Arsenal. That, of course, that it happened. But we have one game in hand. We have the game at home. So everything is done for everyone. So we have to try it until the end. When it's not possible, we congratulate the champion, but we have to try it. So, and hopefully, because they didn't do it, hopefully the players can, and our fans can make an Etihad in a special night. And what weapons that we have, maybe the Savinho action in the last minute against Nottingham in extra time, and today with Mark, maybe we'll change, one day, maybe we can make a good game.
Thank you very much, Pep.
You're very welcome.
Stuart, you're the manager amongst us, and Pep Guardiola in his press conference ahead of the West Ham game said if we don't win there, the title's over.
Yeah.
He's coming out, he's fighting talk now, he has to do that, right?
Yeah, of course, he's got to build his squad up. They've got a massive game midweek, and he's got to try and turn a deficit round in that game, which is going to be tough. He's going to go into a cup final next weekend as well, which is going to be massive. And if he comes out with a detrimental result from that, he could be out the Champions League, out the title race, and lose his first piece of silverware that's up for grabs. So, interesting times. We're at the business end of the season, but his job is a man motivator, and he's going to have to do that.
Can you two tell me what's going on with Erling Haaland? Look, he's still very much top of the charts in terms of 22 Premier League goals, but 3 in his last 12 games, and 2 of them were penalties. It doesn't look all right, does it, in the Haaland camp?
Well, it's what the creativity in the final third. He's not getting on the ball as much as he wants to. It's just not clicking. Semenyo's come in and sort of stole his mantle a little bit. He scored 6 goals in that period, and I think he's only scored 2, and they were from the penalty spot. So I think the manager, though, has been really quite realistic there. They've just had 3 away games. They've been away at Newcastle, Real Madrid, West Ham. The workload, they've only had 1 shot on target, West Ham, and they've scored from it from a corner. But you have to make sure that doesn't happen. You have to be watertight at the back. And it's been an issue for them, and they've not had the consistency. But he's not going to give up, this guy. He's the all-time greatest manager we've ever seen, and he's a winner. So he's not going to take this lightly, and he'll try and find and get a tune out of his team against Real Madrid. And if he can do that, then they're back in the race. But it's a disappointing evening for him.
It is a massive look at these fixtures, Martin. I know you've written them all down there and you've worked out who's going to get what points. This is just in the Premier League, of course, and they meet each other, don't they, on Sunday, the 19th of April at the Etihad. When does Keown pop the non-alcoholic champagne?
Well, I think it goes from game to game. So if Arsenal win the next one and they don't win at Chelsea, you know, that's a massive game, isn't it? Away at Chelsea. Chelsea need points themselves. And then the Arsenal match, Arsenal maybe puts it outside if they beat City away. It could be all done then. So really it's on City to close this gap. But it is doable, that's for sure. And I've been in a situation and done that.
We've got the psychology of the League Cup final as well. I wonder how much that plays into it, Stu.
That'll be big. Make no mistake, you know. Whichever team end up picking up that trophy, it gives that individual club a massive lift. And it's a nice distraction to have, isn't it, away from the league campaign.
But you're not waving the white flag just yet, Shay, are you?
I don't think so. I mean, Pep's come out and said the right things. Incredible team. You know, they've been unlucky. Cherky at Nottingham Forest in the last minute today. Gahey. Them big chances aren't going in the back of the net. But I think in the cold light of day, you know, even Pep, the great manager he has been, he'll probably quietly speak to his sort of friends and think, you know, I think the party's over. Martin can't open that non-alcoholic champagne and celebrate. He just won't say it on air. He'll be celebrating after this.
The smile's starting to come through there on Keown's little face, isn't it?
So Arsenal have got Bournemouth, then it's the City game away, Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, and they finish away at Palace on May 24th. City have that game in hand against Palace, the bottom of your screen to the right. Other than that, it's Chelsea, then the Arsenal, Burnley, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, and they finish at home to Aston Villa on May the 24th. Let's hear from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And they have to play each other 5 weeks tomorrow, I think, Robbie. But that game, towards the end of April the 19th, do you think by the time we get to it, it might not have as much weight as we thought it would?
I think so. And based off today, Rebecca, when that's gone about as well as Arsenal could have wished to have won their game in the manner that they won it, and then to see City drop points at West Ham. Pep himself said, we have to win this game against West Ham to have any chance of the title. They now know they're up against it. And Arsenal are doing to City what City have done to other teams at this time of year.
Next weekend, it's the League Cup final. Arsenal are also still in the Champions League, very much so. Maybe a more advantageous situation than Manchester City. They're also still in the FA Cup and the Premier League. Where are you on the quadruple for Arsenal?
I don't like the quadruple for anybody. I mean, it's magical and mystical, but it's just so hard for these teams with all the fixture congestion and the fatigue on these players. Like, it's great. If you can do it, sure, it's incredibly historical. But by the way, winning the Premier League is historical. I think they probably, out of the 4, they'd probably win 2, and they'd be delighted with that.
Win the Premier League over the Champions League and a domestic?
I'll take League Cup win next week and Premier League. Happy days.
Definitely.
Premier League's the number one?
Absolutely.
Okay. Interesting stuff. So the title race rolls on. Let's talk about a story that happened at Stamford Bridge.
Point of view, how flat will that dressing room be? What does Pep Guardiola say to those players on the way home to Manchester?
I'm seeing a lot of frustration, not just after the games panned out as a 1-1. I'm seeing a lot of frustration with the Manchester City players, with Haaland, with the way they're playing. You know, they've dropped too many points. They've not been playing consistently well enough to put real pressure on Arsenal for me. And to be honest with you, I've been looking at it for a couple of months and think Arsenal have done very, very little to throw this title race away. And I think they'll win it comfortably, looking at the fixtures that Martin's looked at.
Not going to the final day. You like the sound of that, don't you, Martin?
Well, look, the thing is that you don't want to get carried away because there's a lot of other football that could influence. You know, they've got Champions League games coming up, both teams. They've got a major final against one another. You know, I was at the end of a '99 Arsenal team that went out of the FA Cup, and it seemed to impact Manchester United to go on and do very well. So maybe the League Cup is a deciding factor. Maybe if Arsenal can win that, then you know, maybe it's a double blow for Man City to come back from. But with Pep's pedigree, having won 18 trophies, you never discount him and what he's capable of. But today, they'd be really disappointed with that performance. Just weren't creating enough in front of goal. It's not cutting-edge football that we grew so used to watching from Man City. He did tell us before the game, Pep, that it's a must-win game, and they didn't win it. Arsenal, it was difficult for them as well, and there's lots of fixtures to come. They can close that gap. They can beat Arsenal at home on their own territory. They can win their game in hand, but, you know, still Arsenal will have a cushion. So plenty of football left.
This is Martin Keown happy, by the way.
I know.
Shay. You know, he's holding it in here.
So we were hoping till his face there.
We were hoping he was just going to open up and say, you know, we've got one hand on the trophy.
Too professional for that.
It's a wrap. You know, because it feels that way, actually, from an ex-Manchester City point of view. It feels like this is not the Manchester City of old. This is not the team that can go on a, whatever,
why
9 or
is
10
that, Shay,
game
when you
unbeaten
try, and I
run?
know it's difficult after, you know, watching that 90 minutes, but what is not in the ingredients in this recipe that has been there so often under Pep?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems to be a bit of a spark missing. Even midweek in the Champions League, Real Madrid, they got, you know, beat up out in Madrid. Tough game to come back from, but I don't know, the subs, I think Cherki come on, look better. Marmoush was a bit off. Foden's not been the same this season. There's so many different things that haven't really seemed to click. And again, it's not the City of old. I'm not sure if Pep's going to be there next season. There's lots of things that's going to happen, I think, in this summer.
There are 6 or 7 players here, though, that, and you look and you think the backbone of the club is gone, isn't it? So when Gundogan goes, De Bruyne goes, the goalkeeper goes, Walker goes, there's a turnaround. So we shouldn't really be surprised. You know, OK, Haaland's in there, not using Foden very much. And you look at it, you think, well, have this group, they've really got the experience to get through these difficult periods, and at the moment it doesn't seem to be there.
I also think as well, when you look at City and go back to the time that they won the Champions League a few years ago, what were they good at? They could play through the thirds, they could get turned, they could get to the byline, pull the ball back and hurt you in that respect. And defensively, they got it right. You know, Walker was dealing with any threats in Europe, that type of thing. They look as though they can concede goals, I think, this season. They look flimsy in that respect. And also, as well, they've not got the cutting edge that we've been used to over time with City, and I think that will cost them eventually.
Yeah, there were a hatful of chances, Shay, in the second half from a Manchester City point of view. I mean, we'll see the one at the very end from Mark Gahey, but talk us through some of these that you'd normally see them be buried.
Again to West Ham, we talk about the shape, the team shape, but they did get in on another occasion. I'd say Cherki off the bench is a brilliant one-touch around the corner. Hermansen, of course, had a really strong game in the goalkeeper for West Ham, but they're not sitters, they're not clear-cut chances. You know, brilliant defending there from Mavropanos again. You know, talk about an ex-Arsenal player. Scored at the other end, brilliant blocks, and things just didn't drop for City. How many times have you seen this late goals from City? You know, things dropping in the right position. This time, Reinders off the crossbar. I think Hermansen got a touch onto the crossbar as well. But just all these chances that it never really felt that they were hanging on like they're going to score. It's only a matter of time before they did.
About this one.
Yeah, this is probably the biggest chance. He's just leaning back. We've seen him at Pops Gahey here. He's just leaning back when it comes to him. Well, he's got to get his leg over. Anything on target, you think it's a goal there? Big chance.
Yeah, Mark Gahey, of course, arrived at Manchester City in the January transfer window thinking that he might be lifting that Premier League trophy. We can hear from the City centre-back now.
Well, Mark, how much of a sucker punch does that draw feel like? I mean, it is a draw, but given that Arsenal won today, what's the mood like in the dressing room?
Yeah, it's tough. I think on the whole we thought we deserved to win the game, but life doesn't always turn out the way you want to, so it's important that we just get ourselves together and go again.
In terms of the performance in the first half, it felt like a bit of a subdued performance by City. I mean, obviously you were dominating the ball. Was there a hangover from the way that you'd lost in midweek in the Champions League, and maybe even seeing Arsenal win just a couple of hours before you?
I don't think so. I think we need to just be critical ourselves in certain areas of the pitch. I think when you're on top, I think it's important that we make sure that we give ourselves the best opportunity to go and score goals, and then also vice versa, make sure that we don't concede goals as well. So, that's the game at the moment. But I think it's vitally important that we analyse quickly and try and improve.
Yeah, and you've just got a couple of days now between this game and the next one, a big second leg against Real Madrid. Do you as players still believe you can go through?
You don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. You go into these games. If you don't believe, then there's no point even turning up to play. So it's important, like I said, rally everyone and go again.
Yeah. Appreciate your time, Mark.
Thank you.
Just 2 more on here, please.
Yeah, downbeat Mark Gahey. Look, from the centre-back's point of view, from the full-back's point of view, defensively, Manchester City, again, look, they haven't conceded a huge amount of goals compared to the teams around them, but there are question marks there at the back, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. That's why they signed Mark Gahey to solve some of those problems, and I think he's certainly helped in that respect, you know. But still, I find whenever I've been involved at West Ham, if you like, over the years, whenever you put a team up against Manchester City, you get 1 or 2 chances. I've seen Newcastle go there in the second leg of the Carabao Cup and get 3 one-on-ones with the goalkeeper and a gilt-edged chance from Elanga, and you think, you don't get 4 and 5 chances against Manchester City historically. I think you have done now. I don't think they did today, but I don't think they've done enough in the first half to take the tempo of the game to West Ham and really take the game by the scruff of the neck.
And yeah, the system as well has changed. With dual strikers, it's never really been his signature. And I thought when Cherki came on, playing as a 10, all of a sudden Haaland then, it makes it more obvious for him to make the runs he needs. So those relationships are changing, whether Pep's been, you know, forced into this because he doesn't really believe anymore in the wide players that he has. He's not playing certain wide players. Foden seems to be taking a back seat. Hasn't seen him since the 2-2 draw against Forest. So, and that, I thought he should have been on earlier in the game with the experience that he has.
So to play now in the title race, Man City do still have a game in hand against Crystal Palace. They do in a month's time as well also play Arsenal at the Etihad as well. But just looking at their remaining fixtures, Joleon Lescott alongside me, is it hard to see City making up more ground, Joleon, and being perfect in that run-in?
Yeah, there's 2 factors to that. Do I see City being perfect? No. But bigger than that, I don't see Arsenal losing any potential game other than City. They'll be aware of what's at stake and the achievements they can reach this season, especially in the league. And only looking at the City fixture away, that's the only one you can see them dropping points. And other than that, you expect them, and they'll expect themselves to go on and win every game.
It's 10 points dropped from winning positions in 2026 as well. 5 draws they've ended up with from those games, including in the last 2 matches. Hello, Joe Cole is back down to join us. In the last 2 matches against sides down at the bottom, Forest and of course West Ham. We're just looking at the run-in for both these teams, Joe, and what this means for the title race. Do you think it is now over for Manchester City?
It'll be a miracle. Not because of anything of Manchester United finishing too short. They're still a top side. Sorry, Arsenal, I can't see dropping that many points. You know, especially, I know it's a different competition, but with the draw in the Champions League, I think, you know, them games are not going to be as mentally draining. I think they've got a lovely route to the final. So I think it's in Arsenal's hands.
It may change. They may go to the League Cup final, lose that, and it may rock them a little bit, but overall you expect them to, there's enough games there to pick themselves back up and get it over the line.
What do you think that the celebrations will be like in North London tonight after that? Especially given the way Arsenal won their game and scoring their first goal in that one in the 89th minute, because it looked for a long time they were heading for a draw as well.
I think they'll be sensible. I think there's enough professionalism, we spoke about that before the game, in that dressing room and in that club, that they'll be aware that, yes, as much as it's a great opportunity for them, it's not over, and there's trophies and games to play for, especially in the week. They'll know there's got a tough game regarding Leverkusen, so yes, they'll be relatively celebrating tonight, but not over the top. They'll know that they've got training tomorrow, recover and prepare for another big game in the week.
You don't think the party poppers will be out yet?
No,
maybe for the fans.
No, they've come unstuck the last few years where I thought that they thought they was getting over the line earlier, and then they sort of started tripping over themselves. I don't think that will happen with this club. I think that the team at Arsenal is a little bit more mature. The manager's more mature. I think, like I said, if you would have given this to be in this situation in March, they'd have beat your hands off it. And I don't think they're not gonna blow it again. Unfortunately for Manchester City fans and the league as well, because I'd have liked to have been, from a neutral perspective, you'd have liked to have been a bit more. I thought it was going to go down to the wire. Yeah. But you just need a little bit. Manchester City need to win games like this away from home.
And they had a massive chance to win it at the very end, Jolie, and we were standing just down by the corner flag watching that Mark Gahey chance. Did he have to score?
Listen, I'll never say a player has to score. He really has to hit the target. But in regards to the chance, you probably wanted anyone but a centre-half to get that opportunity. And again, yes, a slightly more composed player in them scenarios probably gets it on target and ends up with a victory.
He makes the right decision.
Yeah.
What he's doing is trying to lift it because there's bodies there. The goalkeeper's coming across. He makes the right decision, but he just gets the execution wrong. He just leans back, right shoulder slightly back, and it looks bad.
And that block before from Mavropanos as well. That man tonight, Joe, you said it's one of the best defensive performances you've seen all season?
One of the best. This man to my left will tell you how good a performance that was. He was blocking everything. He put his head on absolutely everything. Was an absolute rock at the back. Listen, he was supported by two of the other centre-halves who were brilliant as well, but I think he scored.
And he scored.
And he scored.
That helps get you man of the match if you do score. But again, his willingness, even there, he's probably overcommitted that challenge, but the butt tackle there, and there's so many elements to it that I think it helps him as well when he's playing in a free.
Jolien, talk to me about confidence as a centre-half, because when I watched West Ham defend and Mavropanos early on in the season, and they looked 6s and 7s. But they look comfortable. What's the confidence that comes with it? How do you get that? Yeah,
tackles, timing, of winning duels. There's a number of factors like
from the manager as well, Jolien, and how he's organising them.
Yeah, definitely. When you feel more compact and you feel like that, as much as painful as that will be, that will give him confidence. Like, and because the willingness to put your body on the line, and there's so many small elements. You didn't
won't give me confidence. I stayed away from all that nonsense.
To be fair, I did.
Do we have to give huge credit for Nuno as well for deciding to go with that back three tonight and the way it was executed?
Well, two things. I think he would have gone with momentum and gone with a 4. Sometimes when things are going for you, losing arguably his best player, Somerville, over the last few months, was the only reason he would have changed it. And then rather than just like for like putting someone else in, he's gone, let me just try and shore it up. And it was absolutely brilliant. Haaland, we saw him with 2 chances, and the best striker in the world. You've kept into two chances, so yeah.
Okay, we're going to get some reaction.